Portugal found a way on the pitch and through the manager with his half-time substitutes. With the substitutes in the second half when Spain got control again. For those reasons, they thoroughly deserved it.
Well, they won back this title that they won in 2019. And for Spain, they couldn't defend it in the end. It went right down to the wire. Spain played their part in this final. They played more than their part in this competition. But the ultimate decider, penalty kicks, and so many of them were perfect. But one proved not to be, and that was the difference in the end. Disappointment for Alvaro Morata, disappointment for Lamine Yamal, but he's got many a big day still to come. But for Ronaldo to add to so many club trophies, to add another title for Portugal, his third. And even though he went off in the game, he played his part as well.
He played his part tonight. He played more than played his part in the semi-final. People were written him off time and time again. Yes, he's not in his prime, but he's still proven over the last few days that he can still make a difference at the highest level. I think Martinez as well, he's had some stick over the years with his golden generation of Belgium and Portugal. I think he deserves his victory as well. He also played a big part in getting the victory for his side.
And because it's only on spot kicks, ultimately you can't read too much as far as maybe favourites for the World Cup is concerned. But what we do know is two top-class teams, 2-2 after extra time. Portugal win 5-3 on penalties.
Portugal have won in all penalties. Alvaro Morata misses for Spain. And Ruben Neves seals the win. 5-3 on penalties after a 2-2 draw. Portugal twice came from behind in normal time. And what it means in the last decade is with a population of 10 million, they won the Nations League twice and the European Championship. What a fantastic achievement. And I think if we go back and look at it, Karen, the half-time changes actually altered the tempo and the flow of the match.
Yeah, Semedo coming on and Ruben Neves coming on, I thought, and the change of shape just gave them that little bit of protection defence, but also could control the game a little bit more. And then obviously that is their biggest asset, is their squad depth. And then you bring on Rafael Leao to that pace and the energy and the stretch. I think the manager deserves a lot of credit because he recognised that. Sometimes on the big stage, managers freeze or they're stubborn and they don't what's needed to be done. He did that, and I thought they deserved it in the end.
So for Roberto Martinez, when it didn't quite work with their golden generation in Belgium, this is a big success for him. But you were saying to us off air, I think we need to discuss this briefly on air. The future may not be quite so straightforward in Portugal, despite this victory here.
Yes, the rumours come from, I would say, inside the Federation of Portugal. New president who had not chosen Roberto Martinez. He's got his contract until 2026. This is very, very important for political reasons. Not only Cristiano yesterday in the press conference backed Roberto because he sensed, like we're reading in the Portuguese press, that the new president will like perhaps Jorge Jesus or Jose Mourinho, who backed him up in the election, to be soon the national manager. But how can you get rid of someone like Roberto that not only has taken Portugal to another final, he's actually the manager in the history of Portugal with the biggest percentage of wins. He's made Cristiano Ronaldo a regular goal scorer, and in fact he's got the best percentage of goals per game than any other manager. So Cristiano's working really well in the way that we described earlier. Small influence perhaps, or smaller influence, but certainly big impact. So how can you get rid of it?
That'd be nonsensical at this stage, having had a win against, of all people, Spain in the manner like this.
Well, basically this has just killed whatever plan there was to get rid of him, I would say.
Absolutely. Well done, Portugal. That is fantastic achievement for them to win on penalties. As I said, in the last decade, look what they won.
It's remarkable. You know what I'm looking at? This is like as big as a World Cup, European champion. Both teams, the whole competition was taken so serious. And look at the scenes afterwards. This is a big moment. And of course, you want to get your hands on another trophy. But psychologically, with a year out, going into that World Cup, you've got that confidence within the group, that winning feeling, but also that added advantage over Spain. And it sends a message throughout the rest of Europe and the world that they're ready, and they're ready for the World Cup as well as this competition today.
Gia, there's so much to enjoy about Spain. They played so well in that first 45 minutes. What's the big lesson that they will have learned from tonight?
Be careful to take too many lessons of a game that was lost because he missed a penalty in a penalty shootout. But there are moments where Spain lost control. Quite clearly, it looked to me in the last 20 minutes of the first 90, neither team wanted to lose it, but especially what has made Spain different and winning more often is just to go for it, and they just didn't. I think Luis de la Fuente became a little bit conservative with the substitutions. There were players that beat defenders, if you like. There were players that could control what was going on. But to be honest, the second half of extra time, actually, Spain played better than Portugal. And you look at the stats, we shot on goal twice as much as Portugal. We created, even though it doesn't seem so because Portugal ended up on the up at the end, but it created more than Portugal. We didn't finish, and that's the difference.
So there's not a lot wrong with Spain. I'm thinking about for the next 12 months going to the World Cup in the USA.
I don't know whether Yamal probably, looked at him and he was probably outmarked by Mendes. He was absolutely outstanding.
He's done that to everybody all season.
Yeah, and like we said yesterday, football's defined by your match winners, and ultimately I don't think Spain in the final third, as you just mentioned there, probably throughout the game, you can control the game, you can have possession. At times you need the individuals, spoke about yesterday and today, to step up and get those magic moments. And look, Portugal have got the squad depth, and the manager played the cards right, picked the right substitutes, and played the moments better today.
I mean, Sportsy, we don't know what his club future is, Ronaldo, but he got the equaliser here. He's back in the goals after a blank Euros. Now it's putting it past him to do something next summer.
Yeah, there's no doubt that he knows all the focus and the attention is on him. But there is no doubt either that he loves Portugal, he loves to be part of the national side. He has made a big thing by, as I said earlier, backing up Roberto Martinez. The team has got the balance that he wants. He has the importance that, yes, he deserves historically, but it's an importance that's backed up by goals. So you have to be happy for Cristiano, and as you say, you have to back up these two teams to go far in the World Cup.
I just seen that. He looks like William.
Yeah,
when you got a squad depth and a team like this, you want to be around it. Obviously, it's really interesting where Ronaldo goes next, club-wise. Where's he going to go? Because you need to, for him, rest and recover and make sure he picks the right teams, give him the best chance to go to the World Cup next year. But in that 18-yard box, there's no one else who would want better in there to sniff out the chances. And we've seen it now. There's 8 in 9 games in this competition.
It is now, yeah.
So look, it's fun. And the manager as well. It's not easy as a manager to tell someone like Ronaldo just stay in the width of the box, and sometimes we saw it gets so many frustrated tournaments. He's been able to do that, and look what he gets.
I think it's really good because we have a lot of England fans watching this evening. And, the relationship with the Nations League, maybe because England got relegated, Scotland but in Tier A, and now England are back in Tier A. Watching this, I'm hoping they're thinking, actually, this is proper stuff. England are playing proper opponents, not this autumn, because that's World Cup qualifiers next autumn of 26. This is a proper trophy. You've got to be part of it.
That's why I said to you, look how serious this is taken. And from an England's perspective, you want to be playing in these big games and these big moments because it prepares you, yes, for this, but for World Cups, for European Championships. These moments at latter stages of tournaments, this is what it feels like. And the more you get used to it, the easier and better it is in those moments.
And the more you want it.
Very well explained, but I've never fully understood why there's a choice of what is a good competition and what is a bad competition. Why Chelsea win the Conference League? It's only the Conference League. Or Spurs is a different case anyway. But you win this and you get used to winning, and winning brings winning. Okay, you can also say that I see the faces of the Spanish players and Luis de la Fuente, and you think it could be a defeat in which you can learn as well. You learn more from the defeat, perhaps, or so they say, than from victories. But in any case, yes, there is something to say about a competition in which you have to beat World Cup winners, winning sides, to actually win it.
If I said to you in the next 12 months that what De La Fuente may be particularly, if there is one out there, be looking for, would it be a number 9? I mean, Oyarzabal was great, but at times, as you said at half-time, they're playing without one, and that could be a strength, but actually, in the end, it was a bit of a weakness. Is that one area they'll be looking at?
But we were praising Oyarzabal in that position because of how he was linking up in one of the goals and scored the other. So, no, I don't think it helps you win the midfield battle, which Spain needs to. If you have somebody like Oyarzabal playing there, Weaknesses, Porro, until Carvajal comes up, who is the best right back in the world perhaps, there's a weakness on the right hand side of the defence. But the rest, look, they competed. Spain have lost in penalties, so you know the conclusion shouldn't be too negative. But there is always room for improvement. I'm sure that Luis de la Fuente will show that there is few players there that perhaps came on the pitch and didn't do much difference. So can he find game changers that can do that? But he's very loyal to the players that he's got. It's a generation that he's followed very closely for 7-8 years in different positions in the federation. So Spain is in a good place. The good news is that so is Portugal.
Absolutely. So Iberia is in a very good place. Just one more, Roberto Martinez. Obviously, with Wigan, won the FA Cup, they got relegated, went to Everton, didn't work out, went to Belgium with that fantastic generation. That didn't work out. I think a lot of people were like, it was unfortunate. They really didn't see that coming, thinking, this is quite a pass.
I think it was more so just stuff with the Belgian national team. That's where it was kind of like, right, so you're going from that golden generation to this one. So what's going to be different? What have you learned?
In a way, how have you done that? Because it didn't work with Belgium.
Well, obviously, there's something special about him. The players, like Ronaldo, they've reacted positively to him. He's obviously won his competition now. But, like, you know, he will be absolutely judged after this at that World Cup, whether, as you mentioned, if he's going to be picked. But I think it would be terrible if he was replaced after doing what he's done here tonight.
No, and you're talking about somebody that started in a way a trend. He is a club manager, could be in the Premier League, and yet he goes to Belgium, goes to Portugal, and then you start seeing the likes of Tuchel going to England and so on. It's an option to have somebody that has had experience, that comes into the federation not only as the first team head coach, but somebody that wants to change things around the team and around especially the youth coming through. He's been involved in all of that, and as a consequence, he knows what's coming through. He knows the strengths of the team. He even sings the national anthem of Portugal in Spanish.
He sang it very hard. He did look Pepe. That's fantastic to see. And there'll be a few Spanish fans in there, of course, who are Real Madrid fans. They'll enjoy seeing Pepe there as well. That's fantastic. I mean, he has done really well, Martinez, with the whole Ronaldo thing. As we said at the end of the Euros, we haven't scored.
Yeah.
I think surely somebody has to be big enough to go, you're a legend, you can't do it anymore.
No,
whatever the conversations were,
he did the thing that I guess you're supposed to do. The first trip when he gets selected, his trouble, wherever Cristiano Ronaldo is, talked to him and said to him, you are to be number 9, my main star, my captain. Next, he had to say that publicly, and he said it in the press conference, Cristiano Ronaldo is here to stay, at a time when everybody was questioning him. And third, he had to convince people within the side, the Bruno Fernandes of that generation, that were not sure that Cristiano should continue. And they paid the dividends of keeping somebody motivated and a squad that understands the role of Ronaldo and vice versa.
But that guy, Nuno Mendes, has been absolutely sensational all season. I think he's the player of the finals. I think this is what he's getting here. The player of the finals. He has been sensational all season. You said in the half-time, Saka, all these players. In the final of the weekend.
Wing backs he did with Inter Milan, yeah, and then obviously tonight.
Back into the corner flag.
Yeah, and then look, you love seeing him burst forward. I mean, he's got the goal tonight, hasn't he, and the assist. But ultimately, you mentioned those players. He's got a defensive responsibility, and a few players will be looking at him, thinking how to get past him, how to be more smarter and clever, and try and really preying his weaknesses. But he's the complete, and what a joy to have him in your team.
That lovely bashful smile, that's fantastic. He deserves all the plaudits here.
Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic. Top 10 of Ballon d'Or, you've seen there, I imagine, because of course he was involved in the Champions League final as well, and he has been superb. We'll see him in the Club World Cup, there is all of that. But in terms of learning, I tell you, somebody that will learn from tonight, Lamine Yamal, who was totally anonymous, couldn't see how to beat not only Mendes, but generally the setup, defensive setup of Portugal. He'll have to think of ways of doing this, even if it is attract players and allow others to shine. It wasn't his game, one in which he wanted to be important, and he wasn't.
Maybe come off. I mean, I know he tried a little bit, didn't he? Come off his wing, maybe going to. Look, he's 17. You're allowed to have a bad day in the office when you're 17.
I mean, what was we were doing at 17, not that this kid is. So
Failing my driving test several times.
I think we can let him have a half day,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even a bad day. It was
No,
just,
exactly.
yeah.
You know, it's all part of it. Well, as I say, watching the scene, I hope it gives you a sense of just how much this matters. And this is the level that England will be playing at when they start the groups again in the autumn of 2026. So I thought the referees did. I thought they refereed well tonight.
Very, very well. There was, I don't think, any player that would come out upset with the referee for any reason. And that is obviously a 10 out of 10 from a referee that allowed play to continue in the big decisions. He was right. He didn't need much help from VAR. He saw it all, and he was very, very well helped by the assistants. Yeah.
You don't want the referee to be the main
Oh,
character
no,
of tonight, so yeah, it was really good. Really enjoyed it. Let it flow.
Absolutely. Well, I think, it's very easy to be critical of sports administrators. I mean, especially in football. But do you want Nations League or do you want a bunch of friendlies? I think we've got the answer, haven't we?
Yes, Karen said it earlier. Just make the best teams play against the best teams, and then what you're going to get is you're going to become better. I think these teams are getting a step ahead from the rest because they compete in this way, and that's bad news for perhaps even the likes of England that won't have the opportunity to play against this level of opposition.
Absolutely.
When something matters.
Absolutely, that's right. Let's go back to the Allianz then for the trophy presentation itself at Agros Townsend and St Hutchins.
Yes, thank you. Of course, it must be remembered that it was just a saved penalty, saved by Diogo Costa from Alvaro Morata on that particular occasion. The difference between these two sides in the end was still a Fuente, though, must be remembered. Great success in his spell with Spain, winning the Euros last year, after winning the Nations League as well. Spain so successful in recent years, and even reaching this final, a mark of their success. And we look at this picture overall, you can't read too much into this as far as the World Cup next year, can you?
Absolutely not. Spain have lost tonight, but in the main they were probably the better side. Other than Portugal had a few moments, Spain controlled the first half, most of the first half. Early second half, they were in complete control. Portugal had the end of the second half and the first half of extra time. So, yeah, it's definitely not going to take too much out of this for the World Cup, because I'm sure Spain is still the favourites going into that, especially with the young players they've got coming through.
Position would have been strengthened, but right now it's about the winners. Roberto Martinez leading Portugal to reclaim this trophy, which they won in 2019. Not that long after they won the Euros in 2016. And Diogo Costa with the key moment, the defining moment of the match, saving from Alvaro Morata. Nuno Mendes winning the plaudits for his display, not just in this final, but this season as well, adding this trophy to the Champions League title. And Pepe getting a good reception from the Portuguese supporters and the manager and players as well. Alexander Ceferin putting the medals around the necks of these Portuguese players. And the substitutes made a difference as well in this match.
I think that was the big thing for Portugal, the substitutes and the speed at which Martinez changed it. The two at half-time, definitely taking off João Neves in that sort of false right-back position, bringing on Semedo, who not only defensively did a great job, but going forward, creating havoc, getting himself into positions which were, he was having to occupy Spanish defenders. And then in the second half, when Spain really had the dominance.
Well, Cristiano Ronaldo has a hold of that trophy. Portugal have a hold of that trophy again. The winners of the UEFA Nations League in 2025. Portugal.
We'll take a break, and in the last part we'll wrap things up on a very special night for Portugal.